Hello, welcome to your first flute lesson. I am so excited that you chose to play the flute. I think it's a great instrument. It is so much fun and it has such beautiful tones. So, we are going to start by making some first sounds on our instrument. So I want you to grab your case and I want you to look for the piece that looks the most plain and has the hole in it. This is your head joint. I want you to grab it by the barrel. This is the one that has the hole in it. This here is your crown, this little top bit here. Don't play with this, don't twist it. You're gonna mess up the wiring of how it's screwed on. Just get a fidget toy instead of fidgeting with this, because the more you twist it and play with it, it's gonna mess it up, and then it's going to affect your tone and your playing. But back to the head joint, what we want to do is we want to hold it with our left hand firmly next to the embouchure hole, and take our right hand and cover the barrel hole with it so that we can bring it to our face. And when we bring it to our face, what we want to do is we want to take the end of our lip skin, where our lip skin meets our face skin, and line it up with the edge of the embouchure hole, and that's going to be the edge of the embouchure hole that is the closest to our face. So if I bring it to my face right now, the edge of my lip skin should meet the edge of that hole. And you want to make sure that you are vertically aligned and horizontally aligned with your embouchure hole. And what you can do is you can take a little mirror and check to see if you have everything aligned, see if your lip skin's in the right place, and if you are 50-50 equally, vertically and horizontally. And then, when you're ready to make a sound, we can start talking about what the embouchure looks like. So for the embouchure, we want to say the French word peu, P-E-U. And we want to stay nice and relaxed when we say that. So you can take your mirror and say peu. So when we say peu, we still want our lips to be nice and relaxed. There's going to be a hole here, which is going to be our aperture. Our aperture is the hole that is in between our two lips. Everything should stay nice and relaxed. You don't want to pull your corners back, because when you pull your corners back, that tightens things up. And on flute, we want to have nice and relaxed face. Now, if you're ready, you can bring your head joint, holding it firmly with your left hand, right hand covering the barrel. Bring it to your face and say peu and blow out. If you're having trouble making a sound, what you can do is you can take a Pneumo Pro and you can just exactly the same, make sure everything is 50-50, horizontal, vertical, and blow across the flute. And when I say blow across, I mean that when you blow across this embouchure hole here, you want to aim for the other edge of the embouchure hole, because that's going to split the air. So your first lip is here, you're blowing across this side. And if you're having trouble making sound, when you take the Pneumo Pro, you want to aim for the red and the yellow fans. And if you're still having trouble with the fans, you might want to check where your bottom lip or your top lip is, because generally for the middle range of the flute, you want to hit the red and the yellow fans. But if you're hitting the blue or the green fans, your upper lip might be too active, you might be having an overbite, or your bottom lip might be too active, which means you might have a bit of an underbite. And that's okay for the higher and lower register. But if you want to make that basic sound, you really want to blow straight across 3/4 into that embouchure hole. Great. Now we're ready to put our flute together. So, I want you to grab your flute and grab the body. The longest one is called the body. Grab the body by the top here. The top part is empty, so there are no keys and rods and posts. If we grab the flute by the keys and the rods, we might end up bending those, and those are really important mechanisms to make the flute work, and we don't want to bend those. So it's really important that we grab the flute by the empty part, which is right here. So I'm going to grab that with my left hand, grab my head joint with my right hand, and in one single twisting motion, I want to make it so that the embouchure hole lines up with my main body of keys. You can see some of these are sticking out to the side here. You want to line it up with all of these that are right in the middle, the embouchure hole. So I am going to hold my head joint past the barrel, and in one single twisting motion, twist it on. So I'm not twisting like this, just in one single twisting motion. And then with some minor adjustment, my embouchure hole should be lined up with my main key system. The last piece, this tiny little one, is called the foot joint. I want to grab it by the end, continue to hold the rest of my flute by the barrel, and in one single twisting motion, not like this, twist it on to the body. And I want to make it so that this little guy here, this is a post. This is how the rods are attached to the flute. This post is going to line up with this pinky key. So this is your foot joint. This here is your pinky key. The post is lined up with it so that when I put my fingers on it, my pinky lines up right there because my pinky is shorter than the rest of my fingers. Now, I can talk about hand position now that our flute is all put together. So, we have 3 contact points to create stability. We have our face right in this divot in our chin here. And then we have our left hand. This is going to be the bottommost knuckle on our left hand pointer finger. So bottommost being closest to my wrist. This is going to lay here on the side of the flute. So my left hand, if I have my head joint here, the top of my body is going to go 1, 2, 3. So I'm skipping this key and just going 1, skip 2, 3. And then my thumb is usually going to, on the back of the body, hold it here. Not on this one, but here. Except for certain notes. So I have my left hand, the flute is resting on this knuckle. And then for my right hand, remember this pinky key we talked about? I'm going to go backwards. I have my pinky, 3, 2, 1. I'm not skipping any keys here per se if I go backwards, just pinky, 3, 2, 1. So let's check our work, make sure that we have our thumb on this bigger key, not the smaller one. Then we have 1, skipping 2, 3, and then from the pinky, 3, 2, 1. All right, great. What I want you to do next, put your flute down, take your hands, cup them around your arm actually, just nice and relaxed. See how your fingers are curled very gently? This is how we want our natural finger position to be. So if you clench your fingers, you can feel that tension, right? We don't want any tension in our flute playing because that makes it hard to play fast things. We want everything nice and relaxed so that when I pick up my flute again, my fingers have this nice rounded shape to them. And find your fingertip and then go a little bit down. That's the pad of your finger. It's a little bit down from your fingertip. We want to be hitting the keys with the pads of our fingers. And then, for posture, what we want to do, let's pretend that these are my feet. We want to have our left foot facing whatever direction we want to face. So if I want to face forward like I am now, my left foot is going to be planted like this. And then my right foot, it's going to go around and back. If there's an edge of a chair here, because you'll usually be sitting in a chair, I want to bring my right foot around the corner, the front corner of the chair, and bring it back so that it's at a 45-degree angle. 45 is the corner of a box. And it's the same for standing. If I want to face forward, I have my left foot forward, bring my right foot back so that I'm 45 degrees. This releases a lot of shoulder tension that can happen in the flute if you're facing forward. One more big thing is don't bring yourself to your instrument, bring your instrument to you. So find your posture first, and then sit up nice and tall so your spine is all aligned, your head is up. Bring your instrument to you once you're there. Don't bring yourself to your instrument, because you're going to cause a lot of tension by doing that. And that's a lot of the things I see in beginners. So why don't we go over a C major scale? A lot of the fingerings on the flute, they have the pinky down. So that's going to help you keep that stability. If you bring your flute back to your face, find yourself there, and then follow my fingers. What we're going to do is we're going to start on the low C. So most keys also have the thumb down as well. C is going to have the thumb down. You're going to have 1, skip, 2, 3, pinky, 2, 1. And then once you found where your pinky is, for the low C, we're actually going to bring that over to this next pinky key and down 1 on this little thing that rolls here. So go over from your pinky, press down this key and this one, and then go back to your big round ones. 3, 2, 1. This is going to be your low C. And then when we want to go up to the next note, which in a C major scale is D, you are going to lift your pinky. And this is not going to use your pinky key, but you're going to keep everything else down. So from C to D. And if we go up another one, there's no sharps or flats. So the next note, C, D, E, you are going to put your pinky back down and lift your ring finger, your third, 3, and everything else is going to stay the same. And then if we want to go up to F, we are going to put our third finger back down and lift our middle finger. And that's it. E, F. And then we want to go to G. We're going to want to lift our entire right hand up except for our pinky. So you have thumb, 1, 2, 3, and pinky. So let's go over those first 5 notes again. We have C, which is everything. We have thumb, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and our pinky goes over to this key and the roller. And then we go up to D. D is thumb, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, no pinky. D is the key that doesn't use the pinky for most fingerings. And then we go up to E, so we put pinky down, lift up the ring finger, thumb, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, pinky. And then F, all we're going to do, we're going to keep our thumb down still. We are going to swap our ring finger and our middle finger. And then we are going to go up to G. So we are going to keep our pinky down, keep our thumb down, keep our left hand down, lift up 1, 2, 3 on our right hand. Then next is A. So if we keep lifting up fingers sequentially this way, next step is to lift up this third finger. Keep our thumb down, keep our pinky down, 1, 2, that's A. Now we're going to go up to B natural. So what we're going to do is we are going to keep our thumb down, keep our pinky down, but lift up 1 more finger. So we have 1, thumb, and pinky. Last step, if we want to go up 1 more note, we want to lift up 1 more key. So we are going to lift up our thumb key. So we have 1 and 1, and we've hit C. I'm going to pause here for a second. All right, so if we're on the middle of the staff C, we want to go back down. It's the opposite of what we just talked about. Instead of lifting up a finger each and every way, just about except for F and E, then we want to go back down. We're going to keep putting keys back down. So if we're on C, which is 1 pinky, no thumb, we're going to put down our thumb to go back down to D, A, G, and then F, E, D has our pinky up, and then down to C. And that is our C major scale. Next, we want to talk about chromatic note fingerings. So these are going to cover all of them. Even though they have different names, they are the same pitch. So, when we're talking about B flat, there are 3 different B flats that are going to be on our fingering charts. One is typically just most correct. There's a second one that can help us with tricky fingerings, and there's one that should pretty much never be used unless it's the only fingering we have like available to us in very, very, very rare situations. So our first is the best sounding B flat. We have 1 pinky, and then we've had this thumb key that we've been using pretty much the whole time except for C. We want to actually slide that over and use the smaller thumb key. So our best sounding B flat is going to be 1 pinky and the thumb closer to our face. Next is the fingering for tricky fingerings. So we're going to have 1 pinky, thumb on the smaller key, and then this little lever right here. Next, you see how we have all these little baby keys? These are trill keys. We're going to use this lever. And then finally, this is the fingering that we never want to use, and this is the one that's going to be in all over the fingering charts and your music books. It's going to be 1 pinky and bass thumb. It just doesn't have as much of a resonant tone as compared to the best sounding B flat because of the key mechanisms in the flute. And then we're going to talk about F sharp next, or G flat. So what we want to do for this is we want to go 1 2 3 thumb pinky, and then instead of playing our normal F, we're going to lift up our first finger. So we have 1 2 3 thumb, 3 and pinky. And that's also going to be our G flat fingering. And then C sharp is a really fun one. All you're going to do is put down your pinky. If you're having trouble balancing, remember your balance points, you have your face and you have your knuckle on your pointer finger, bottommost. That is also going to be D flat. C sharp, D flat. Next, we're going to cover E flat. And so this is going to be different for the lower register and the upper register. The lower one, what we're going to do is we're going to put down our thumb, go 1 2 3. Remember to skip that key there. And then pinky, 3 2 1. If we want to play the upper register one register higher, all we're going to do is we're going to vent this first finger. And this is E flat or D sharp. Next and finally, we're going to do A flat. So this one, we are going to put down 1, skip 2 3, and then our thumb key, pinky key, and we finally get to use this fun little guy that's just been hanging around out here. This one that sticks all the way out, apart from all the other keys, is going to be your A flat lever, A flat key. So remember thumb, 1 2 3, A flat lever, and pinky. That's going to be A flat or G sharp. So now I think, now that we know our fingerings, we're ready to talk about some octave changes. And changing octaves on the flute is going to involve venting some keys and changing the focus of our lips. Remember how we talked about those different fans on the Numo Pro? When we go into the higher register, we want to be using more bottom lip, so we're pouting, so the air is going up and hitting the blue fan. When we're in lower register, we want to use more upper lip so that our air is pointing down and hitting the green fan. And then for those harmonics that we talked about, there's a series of overtones. So for example, if I play a C on the flute and I want to play it in different registers, it might hit another C, but it also might hit a different note. If I'm playing C, the next note that will come out, if I play 1 octave higher, is going to be another C. And then if I try to go higher than that, it's going to hit a G instead of another C. So that's why venting comes into play, because you're going to vent keys that will take the fingering from a fifth below your desired note and an octave below your desired note, and will create your desired note. But we'll get more into that with our 3rd octave fingerings. For now, let's just focus on a G. So, if I put my thumb down, go 1, 2, 3, pinky, that is a G. I'm going to play the lower register one, so I'm going to use more upper lip so that the air direction is down. And if I play it with slower air, it's going to hit that bottom octave. If I play it with faster air, even if I don't use the correct embouchure, the correct lip, I can force it out, but it's not going to sound as good. So there are 4 key things that we want to hit for lower register versus higher register. The first is our lip. For bottom register, we want to use upper lip. We want to have, second thing, our air direction going down. Third thing, our airspeed. We want to have slow airspeed, which also ties into the 4th thing. We want to have warm air. For the higher register, we want to use more bottom lip, so we're pouting so that the air is going up. Second thing, air direction is going up. Third thing, we are using fast air, which ties into the 4th thing. We are using cold air. And then, now we can get into our 3rd octave fingerings a little bit. So, in our lower octave, we have D, which D is thumb, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, no pinky. And then, if I vent, that's going to give me my 2nd octave fingering, so 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, no pinky and thumb. And that's lifting up a key. But if I want to go into the higher register, I have to lift up another key. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to vent all of these keys and put down my pinky, and that is going to give me my 3rd register D. So the venting rules are you're venting for a 5th below and an octave below. So I'm using the fingering for the middle of the staff D, and I am using the fingering for the G just above the staff, and that is giving me that fingering. So next is E flat. If I'm doing my lowest E flat, I am going to have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 pinky, and then to get to the middle E flat, I am going to vent my 1st finger, and then to get to that 3rd octave, I am actually going to put down all of my fingerings, combining the fingering for the middle of the staff A flat, and above the staff A flat, and middle of the staff E flat. Then for E, I am going to vent for the middle of the staff E and the A above the staff. So that would be 1, 2, and then 1, 2, pinky and thumb. And then next is F. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to vent for the F on the top of the staff and the B on above the staff. So I have thumb, and then 1, 3, 1, 3, pinky. So my 2 middle keys are up, 2 and 2. And then next for F sharp, I'm going to vent for an octave below and a 5th below. So I'm actually just going to lift up this 1st finger here. And then finally G, what I'm going to do to vent is I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to vent my thumb and leave my pinky on. So I have 1, 2, 3, no thumb, and pinky. So combining all of this, I'm going to make sure to play those 3rd octave notes that I am focusing on my air direction, my air speed, which lips I'm using, and then making sure that I'm venting for the correct fingerings. So if I'm on the middle or 2nd octave D, I'm here. And then all of the things, faster air, venting, I get third octave D. And then if I have middle E flat, excuse me, then I'm using faster cold air and then venting for the correct fingering. And then same thing, here's middle E, and I'm going to vent, and then middle F, and then venting, middle F sharp, and then G, Alright, last thing we're going to cover is articulation. So when we articulate, what we want to do is want to use the tip of our tongue, and we want to feel, so take your tongue, find your front teeth on the top row, move your tongue back in your mouth until you find that ridge. There's a ridge in there where it goes deeper. Right where that ridge starts is where you're going to touch the tip of your tongue. Some people say strike. Striking might be a little bit too much, but because it might cause a harsh sound. So you want to just tap it right there on the bridge in your gums, and you're creating a T sound. And you want it to be crisp. So, for example, if I play a middle C, and I'm going to articulate it, and then it's going to have a clearer sound in between the notes. So, for example, I will play 4 C's that are articulated with the tip of my tongue. If I just use my air, it might come out a little muddy. Taking my air back really muddies up that sound in between each note, so that's why we want to use our tongue as well. So if we want to do an exercise to practice this, what we can do is we can do a whole note, which covers 4 beats, 2 half notes, which are both 2 beats long, and 4 quarter notes. So we have 1 whole note, 2 half notes, 4 quarter notes. And we are going to articulate with our tongue on the bridge of our gums in between each note. We're not going to change anything about our embouchure. Our embouchure is going to stay exactly the same. It's going to be pu, it's going to be relaxed. We are just using our tongue. So, you're going to copy me. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, breathe. And finally, the last thing is we can also use the back of our tongue to create a k sound. So we have t, k, t, k. So you're going forward, backward, forward, backward. Forward is the bridge of your gums, backwards is the back of your gums, closer to your throat, t, k, t, k, t, k, t, k. And that's going to be how we do double tonguing. And I think we have covered all of the basics. Last thing, if you want to put your flute away, make sure you grab in where there are no rods and posts. Gently put everything back in the case, and make sure that you take a cleaning rod, which is in your case this thing here, and a cleaning cloth, and get rid of the spit every time you play.